Welcome to Needy and Normal. I'm your host, Ashley Levering, mom, wife, and life coach. After hours of coaching and learning from my own life, one thing is clear: meeting your needs is essential for a better life. Here, we'll talk about your needs and not only learn to accept them, but also tend to them without guilt. Let's get needy. Welcome back to Needy and Normal. I'm so glad you're here. If you've had a chance to listen to the first episode and you've been able to leave me a review, or hopefully you plan to do that after this episode, thank you so much. It means the world to me. This episode is going to be very focused on identifying your needs. Of course, I'll have a story to tell, and it's going to be also about what it's like when you deny yourself an essential need. The way I teach what needs are, if you spell out the word needs, this is how I lay it out. N is for normal. E is for effective. The other E is for essential. And the D is for dedication. And the S is to self. So your needs, if you feel like writing this one down, your needs are normal, effective, essential, dedication to self. They are not to be argued with. You don't have to earn them. They are unique to you. There's no timeline on when you can cash them in. When a need arises, it is your human right to tend to it. Right then and there. One of the simplest examples I can give you is when you have to go to the bathroom. Just plain and simple. If you have to pee or otherwise, usually you're not going to sit around and wait for it to get incredibly uncomfortable. Now, I get the situations where it's hard to find a bathroom, or you're in a movie and you don't want to miss the good parts. I get that. But the concept is you got to go. You have a need, you tend to it. That is one of the most basic needs. And so there's categories, right? There's your basic needs. I could go very deep into these, but to make it simple, your basic needs are having shelter, water, food, safety, really absolute human survival kind of things that from the beginning of time humans have needed. Now, I like to say basic needs also include financial well-being, mental well-being, physical well-being, like your health. These are things I teach. Basic, that category to me is a lot bigger than, for example, Maslow. Remember that guy, Abraham Maslow? He had a theory back in 1945 about how you attain your needs from very, very low basic needs to all the way up to the top, which is, getting everything you want out of life, basically. So the way I explain it is there's your basic needs, then there's your emotional needs, and then there are your life fulfillment needs, right? That's your personal growth and achieving your goals. But you have to have your basic needs. You have to have your emotional needs. And in many cases, to really feel like a whole person, like you're really doing life by your terms, to feel healthy and happy and fulfilled, you really have much more and meaningful needs than we're often admitting. So let's talk about basics. I spent a long time basically having a terrible relationship with my own needs, partly from my upbringing and partly from just not having a clue, not having a clue what really worked for me. I spent a long time thinking that everybody else's needs were more important, or at least that they needed to come first before my own. So becoming a mom, I was still very much in that mindset. Now, if you've listened to episode 1, where I take you through my world, mine and my husband's world, and his career path, my career path, becoming a mom, I very quickly mentioned how hard it was to become a mom. And the reason why is because I was so focused on everyone else's needs that it would take me until utter exhaustion to realize, oh, what did I eat today? I haven't worked out in days. I don't know when I got a good night's sleep last. Like I was losing track of the things that would help me function, my basic needs. Then of course that bleeds into my emotional needs, and the fact that I wasn't really taking care of those things went right up to my self-fulfillment and my actualization, right? If you think of the science behind it, everything stemmed from not taking care of myself, and not just a basic need like sleep. It was denying myself moments of quiet, moments of belongingness and connection with friends, tending to things that mattered to me, like traveling or exercising, reading a book, deciding what kind of career path I want, deciding what mattered to me outside of my home and my marriage and my children. I would just deny myself. I felt guilty if I went to get my nails done. It was silly. But when you're really in that place of, I maybe don't know my needs, or I don't know the indicator of, hey, it's time to focus on those needs so you can manage better through life. When it's hard to pinpoint that, you can really go down quite a rabbit hole. So here's a story I love to tell because it really expresses how poor I was at tending to my needs, but also how poor I was at finding a way. My daughter was about 7 months old, which means my son was going to be 4. So he was 3. And so I had little kids. And our daughter had not slept through the night ever. Ever. I don't know what we were possibly doing wrong or what was disturbing her so much. I tried everything to get her through the night, and it was so rough on anyone. But she was born in December, and come February, Jeff was off to Arizona for spring training. And granted, we were able to go and join and be a part of that, but we were in baseball season, right? And baseball season for us means my husband is, in town for a week, gone for 10 days, in town for a week, gone for 7 days. And he's such a good dad. And whenever possible, he was always so supportive and engaged and intentional with the kids. Still is, always has been. I've always had everything I've needed from him as a dad. And I probably also spent a lot of time not asking for what I needed because of this exact thing, this not always knowing what your needs are. And if you don't know what your needs are, how the heck you can ask for them? But I had support when it was available, and I still got stuck in this, it's on me. I have to take care of everybody. mindset. And I had been so sleep deprived that I was hallucinating, literally. Like, I'm not saying, oh, I was seeing things, I was so tired. No, I was actually seeing things. A little humorous now, but when it was happening, not only was it scary, but it felt never ending. It felt like, oh no, now I'm stuck in this thing in my life that I guess it's just part of who I am now. And I would tell people the story. So here's what would happen. I'd be up in the night tending to our daughter. As much as Jeff could help, he did, but I was exhausted, right? Because you got to remember, I'm doing the mom thing all day long, and then I'm up at night. So I was doing 24/7 duty in the short periods of time at night when I was getting sleep. It would be interrupted by this half awake, half asleep trance. I don't even know how to explain it. And I would be literally seeing things. I'll tell you some of the situations. The first one that my husband was involved in, he was next to me in the bed, sleeping peacefully, and I look over, and I remember it vaguely, but I thought his head was all big and puffy and blowing up, and I was very concerned. It just frightened me, and I remember grabbing his face, and I thought something was so terribly wrong, and I looked at him, and I'm shouting. I'm like, "Are you okay? What's going on?" And he wakes up, and I started to come to, and realized, oh, he was fine. I'm seeing things, and that was one of the situations. At one point, I thought a painting on the wall was leaking jelly. I thought I would hear things. I don't even remember all of them at this point, but this was happening probably every week, at least once, and it was bad. And it got to the point where I told Jeff how to handle me. I said, when I'm not fully awake and I think I'm seeing things and I'm alarmed and I'm freaked out, I said, the best thing you can do is stay calm and reassure me and just say, hey, everything's fine. But you got to remember, too, he wasn't always there. So I'm hallucinating. I'm exhausted. I'm on my own. So I mentioned July because this is when it really came to a head, where I just thought, oh my gosh, I don't even know what to do. So I call my doctor and I go in to see her, and I told her, our daughter will not sleep through the night. I am absolutely exhausted. I am hallucinating. I'm literally seeing things, and it's freaking me out, and I don't know what to do. I was at a loss. I was at a breaking point. And of course, Jeff's worried about me. And she looks at me and says, okay, you have exhaustion. And I look at, I know, I'm exhausted. She goes, no, like military level, like you've been on a tour, you have exhaustion. And she said, I needed to go to a hotel for like 3 days and catch up on my sleep. I needed 3 good nights sleep at least to get myself back on track because I was so sleep deprived. And I laughed. I out loud laughed at her. I thought she was joking. I really did. I said, you can't be serious. We're in the middle of baseball season. I don't have family nearby. At the time, I really didn't have a lot of babysitters, no one that could help me at night. It was a joke. It was a joke. So I'm laughing at her saying, there's no way I could go to a hotel and catch up on sleep. That's real funny. Good one, doc. And she was dead serious, of course. And I had right then and there denied myself a need. It sounds like luxury, and it did to me in the moment. I thought, oh, go to a hotel, ooh, so bougie, like what, how am I have responsibilities, I have this life, I have these kids, everybody needs me, right? How am I supposed to take care of me when everyone else needs me? And so I did 2 things wrong right there. One, I denied myself of a need that was absolutely normal, effective, essential, and it would be a dedication to myself. It all applied here, and I denied myself those things, number one. And number two, I thought there was no way to do it. So I said, nope, not going to do that. How? No idea. No idea. And now, fast forward, I've learned a lot of creative ways to meet my needs because I've had to. When I know I have a need that has to be taken care of, I will figure it out. So now I'm in this place where if I need something, I'm going to figure it out. But back then I thought, there's no way. There's no way. I still hadn't learned that my needs were not to be earned, that they were something I could tend to because I'm supposed to as a person, a living, breathing person. And how was I my best for my family? Being as exhausted as I was, I wasn't. I think I was anxious and irritable and stressed out. Enduring, and that's a word I use with clients a lot too, is how long will you endure? How long will you convince yourself that not taking care of something essential and normal and necessary is okay? Took me such a long time to not only sleep through the night just by circumstance, but to actually take care of my needs as they came up. Another thing I was so guilty of was pushing them aside for as long as I possibly could until I would get to those breaking points. That is something we all do. I bet you've done that. I bet you've done that where you needed something and you pushed it and pushed it and pushed it until all of a sudden you realize, oh my gosh, I have to do something. What if there was another way? What if there was another way to recognize our needs right there in the moment, and then instead of waiting or pushing them aside or putting others' needs ahead, you just sit right there with it and think, I have a need. Let's make a plan. Let's figure out how to tend to it. So identifying your needs sometimes is only hard because you make it hard. Human beings are so complex, and we really truly make things difficult. We just do. We're very complicated creatures. But if you go back to the simplicity of, I have to go to the bathroom, therefore I'm going to go, you can utilize that in other ways. Like exercise, it might feel like a chore, but if you think, I need exercise to feel energized, I need exercise to feel good, I need it to get out of my head, there's all kinds of reasons why it's a need. Now I'll get into stubborn needs. Believe me, that'll be a whole episode of its own, but it's just one example. Sleep, for me, is so unbelievably essential, obviously from a very hard lesson learned. So I started to be more proactive in how to calm my mind and how to get my body feeling better and how to recuperate from nights where I'd be up more. And I started incorporating more help so I wouldn't feel so overrun and have such little sleep in my body. But I will say, had I come to someone with the knowledge of how to implement these needs right then and there, and come up with a plan, I could have tended to that need better. So I'm sure in your head you've already thought of some ideas of, well, what other needs have I had and have pushed aside completely, or have made wait until it was unbearable? Or what needs have you put behind someone else's needs? If there's something that you need that has fallen into a category of basic needs, emotional needs, or personal development and that life fulfillment category, if you have needs in any of those categories at any given time, that counts as the guilt-free need that not only you can tend to, but you can figure out how to tend to right then and there. It's a right. This is something I tell people all the time. We don't argue with our needs. They're just so. They are just so. And how often have you caught yourself saying, well, I need this or I need that? And it's just a conversation instead of something real. I need to get to the grocery store. I need to get to the gym. I need a nap. I need to call my grandma. I need to, wash my floor. Maybe they're chores, but you've said it before. You've said, I have a need, and you've denied it. You've pushed it aside or kept it from happening, and we don't need to do that. I'm telling you right now, if there is something you have put the word need next to, it can and deserves to happen. When you deny yourself the ability to take care of your needs, the stress in your life increases. It feels chaotic. It's hard. Things are harder. They just are. Asking yourself at any given moment a very simple question, but by answering it with a very honest response. What do I need? What do I need? Sometimes it's space. Sometimes you need to quit a job. Sometimes you need to have a difficult conversation. It's unique to you. It's unique to you. So next time you find yourself feeling stressed out, sleepless, or overwhelmed, one of the most basic and essential questions you can ask yourself is, what do I need? So how about, for the sake of me being a coach, and I can't help it, let's have a call to action here. What do you need? Actually go get a piece of paper and write down something you need, and then find one way to take care of that need. See what happens. And when you do it once, you can do it again. Now, I'll add an extra bonus challenge. If you can reach out to me through Instagram at ABL Life Coaching, I want to know how it works. It sounds so basic and so simple, but because we're so good at ignoring our needs, I bet it will be a smidge of a challenge. Give it a try. Let me know how it goes. So if I leave you with nothing else today, it's this. Your needs are essential. Your needs are unique. They do not have a time limit, but they also don't need to wait. And everything will get a little lighter, a little easier when you tend to the need. And it is possible. And not only is it possible, but you don't have to feel bad or guilty about it. Even if you are in a place in your life where you really take care of other people, don't get to a place where you are military level sleep deprived like I was. Take care of you, because you being better for yourself, you're better for others. You just are. So go ask yourself that question. What do I need? And we'll talk next week. Thanks so much for being here. Take care. Thank you so much for listening to Needy and Normal. Please subscribe so you don't miss an episode, and take the time to leave me that review so we can create a community together. For information about coaching, visit ablifecoaching.com.